my name's Natasha and this is my video. I wanted to do a video about why it's positive to be trans or LGBTQ, because there's plenty of stories out there in the world and we're all very familiar with why it's difficult and why it's not preferable to be trans or LGBTQ because of all the difficulties that come along with it, self-acceptance and wider acceptance from the community. But what about what's some of the positive sides of it? Because there's always a yin and there's always two sides to the coin. Wherever there's something bad, there always must be something good. So I just wanted to go through some of the things that I think are positive and where I've got to a point where I'm really grateful to be LGBTQ and trans. Number one, we get to bring the colour into the world. I mean, in my olden days, before I transitioned, a lot of the colours I was wearing were blues, darks. I didn't really want to stand out. Anything too bright or garish would have sort of put me under the microscope, and I didn't want that. Well, it's almost like you get a license to express yourself. You can express yourself to a greater degree. So that's one of the great things I've found. It's not to say that some people in the cis and straight community don't express themselves. I just personally felt that there was kind of a hindrance on me expressing myself, and I was very limited. Number two, so the types of clothing we can wear. So we've got the colours. What about the types of clothing we wear? So I mean, with being queer, there's no boundaries. We can create looks. We can, particularly for trans people, we've got a plethora of different looks, all the looks that women have, and then some, because we can sort of, have some of the more sort of androgynous looks. There's limitless. We can create our own looks. So suddenly having all these different options makes life so much more pleasurable. And also the different fabrics. I mean, some of the fabrics that that I would have previously in my previous sort of existence would have been wearing were very sort of dull and not really stimulating to the touch. And some of the materials now, that's one of the sort of main things I look for in a product when I'm going to buy it, how it feels to the touch. So that's opened a load of doors for us. Number three, so I think it is difficult. It's difficult to accept yourself when the whole world's been telling you otherwise. But when you get to a point of self-acceptance, you've had to overcome so much adversity, mainly in your own mind and the inner dialogue and the inner monologue that you have. But when you get to that point, you are such a strong person, and because you've overcome these hurdles and you've been able to transcend what other people think of you, it makes you a very, very strong person. And that's great, because I think a lot of people put up the impression of being strong, but to actually be strong, it means you become fearless and you're able to live life on your terms. And that's a wonderful place to be. Number four, so I think probably the most important thing for me that I've discovered is to be, and probably one of my highest values is being authentic, being sincere. So I think when I came out, one of my friends actually said to me, how did you keep this all concealed? Because you shoot from the hip and it's very much you wear your heart on your sleeve. And I think that's most people would probably like to be that way. But for me, it was to now be in this place where I'm able to be myself and express myself any which way I want is so liberating. And I think there's some people in other communities that haven't quite got that freedom, and they haven't quite got that understanding of who they are. And so by giving sort of, it's almost like we have permission to explore ourselves. And I think that's what we're here on this planet for. I think it was written on the Ark of Apollo, know thyself. And I think introspection and trying to find out what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and just getting to know yourself better. And I think when you get to know yourself better and you're able to be more authentic, it's a great place to be, because life seems so much better. And I don't see a lot of that around, even in the straight and cis community, where people are able to get to a point where they're really sort of happy in themselves. I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but I think it's something that everyone sort of struggles with. So to be able to get to a point where you're able to be authentic and sort of not sort of worry about what other people think and just sort of put yourself out there is an amazing benefit. And number five, I would like to say having sort of the opportunity to go out on your own and do different things, because I think one of the things that I mean, look at all the films, and the love stories have been written time and time again. I think we've got to a point now where we're regurgitating stories over and over again. Romeo and Juliet, all these kind of stories, fabulous stories. But I think it's time for some more creative input to the world. And I think what variety and different lifestyles give us is a new set of lives to start reporting on and filming. And I think there's going to be a real move towards it, because people want something new. We've seen all the other lifestyles, and also what it might do is it might awaken another section of the community that suddenly clicks that actually that's something that I am or I want to do. So I think it's a good place to be, I think, because there's, I mean, I'm not saying that these stories haven't been told, but not to a wider scale. So those are just a few of the things that I think are positive. Obviously there's loads more positives about being LGBTQ and trans. I think for me, it's if you can get to a place where you're happy in yourself and you're not feeling you're having to sort of restrict yourself in any way, regardless of whether you're trans, LGBTQ or not, you know, straight or cis, that's where I think we should look to get, because that's utopia. That's where we want to be. And I think being LGBTQ gives you, you know, if you can overcome your own inner doubts and in a sort of critic, I think it gives us a step up, because we've had to overcome some more adversity. Anyway, that's all for now. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please subscribe for more. Thanks. Bye bye.